We are back to talk about something that a lot of you have said to me, help, I have no head voice or I have no falsetto. And I was really also surprised to see in my low range voice video how many of you capped your ranges at the top of where I think it might not actually be your physical limit. I think as a voice teacher, you should be able to at least practice and access more of your range. So, let's talk about how to get that today. If you have a male voice or a very low voice, this is going to be extra difficult for you. And you're going to want to try to do these things when you're alone, when nobody's staring at you. You can make goofy noises and you feel really comfortable, not in a car, somewhere you can like sit or stand properly, that kind of stuff, etc. Falsetto is just a word for a type of head voice. And in my teaching, we're going to have two types of head voice, one that goes vertical, one that goes here. In our modern singing, we want to have three types of styles or placements where we visualize, literally picture the sound going in our head, because the mind is the steering wheel. It's going to determine what happens to a lot of this stuff here. We can't feel the epiglottis or make it move, not in a direct tactile sense, the way we kind of feel this like lump in our throat, something kind of moving around, but not in the way we can feel or see or access or command our hands. And we shouldn't be trying to do it that way either, since we can't access it that way. So we have to access the system that actually makes our voice work, and that is the pictures in our heads. The regular way, especially if we have a low voice or a male voice, that we tend to talk, but pretty much everybody tends to talk like this, is with their forward placement, nay, the way that I'm talking, which for a lot of people tend to call that chest voice. But most women, their voices simply aren't low enough to resonate in the chest. It's an epiglottal position that's making it be that way. So the tone is the same, but it's up way up here. Nay. And none of that's resonating in the chest. So that's kind of why I hate calling it chest voice. But a lot of people are going to call it chest voice. So this is our main type of rock and metal singing, our belt voice. That's why I like to call it belt voice instead of chest voice, for both the high and the low notes for that. And then when we get up higher, our first type and main type of falsetto, aka head voice, is going to be our mixed voice. I call it that because it is not epiglottically in a belting type of position anymore, aka chest voice, and it is not in an operatic type of position. It is a mix. It is in between the two, and it's going to go right here between the eyes. And so first thing you want to do is imagine your voice floating and yawning right here. We're going to use the word she. We're going to take a nose breath in, and I want you to try this with me. If you have a really low voice or a male voice, I want you to just go as high as you can kind of make it happen, which might be kind of low, but still past that flip into the head voice. So first type of head voice, we're going to send right here, and we're going to go she. Just try to yawn into it. Any kind of she that floats into it. But I do want you to try to put some volume into it. And you're going to use your arms. It's going to be weird, but your arms come up when the sound comes out. So the sound's going to go right here. Let's try it together. Breathe in. She. You use both the arms. I'm just doing the pencil to give you a visual. She. As that gets more comfortable, just start making it a little louder. When it gets louder and you're really aiming it here, you're going to feel some sound waves vibrating and buzzing. That's a good thing. Breathe. She. Very good. And then keep driving it up a little higher. Each time, breathe in really good before you do it. She. And you're really going to feel it buzzing and vibrating right here once the notes get high enough. It's going to take a lot of energy. You might feel sweaty. You might feel lightheaded, especially if you've never accessed this. It takes a little energy and volume, and a lot of singing and screaming has to do with feeling a little more athletic than musical. But this is right where pop falsetto goes for sure. But also most of our heavy metal falsettists are sending it right here as well. So if I'm Justin Timberlake, it's going to go right here. Cry me a river, as opposed to my belt voice, which the same notes in the same key, if I picture it going this way, I'm going to get cry me a river, significantly louder and edgier, because of my epiglottis tilt, but I literally only changed what I was picturing in my head. And that changed a bunch of stuff here that I couldn't even feel. And we have research to show that, but we can't control it from here. So if I go right here, Krashini, cry me a river, I have to push it a little harder to float it into there. And it's not as volume. So in rock and metal, we'll tend to belt as far as we can go before engaging that voice. That's why that sounds more like pop falsetto, because I'm flipping the note a lot earlier than I would in rock and metal. In rock and metal, I'm going to wait till I'm way up high and do something like, ah, like way up here. Something up there. So for guys, you really can do this really for everybody, every person, male or female. You can do this all the way from like C5 to G5. If you're a baritone, you can do this from B4 to G5, that you can put it right here. And then when we get really, really high, and this is relative to your own vocal range, and the notes go really high, like painkiller high, cemetery gates high, we want to go way high, and you want to send it up through the top here. And you want to float it and yawn it still, but with a lot of ab support and volume. Way up high. And for some of you that have high voices, this placement here is going to get you all the way to your whistle tones, your whistle highs, if you're a high soprano voice or something. For men, the highest you could probably ever go is that C6 if you're tenors and countertenors, and then baritone guys, it's probably not going to go much higher than G5, But you can use that vertical placement if you feel like this isn't cutting it and we need to go higher. This isn't so much a mix now. This is like a pure head voice. So it's one of our two types, mixed and vertical. Vertical is also the way that I teach if I were to teach, because even though my training is in this, my specialties are in modern singing and rock and metal, and I kind of want to focus on those kind of students. But if I ever have to teach classical, we look at vertical placement. All the way top to bottom. And that's kind of why we don't want to use this vertical placement except for our highest notes, because even in men, if you start using this vertical placement too low, you're going to go into an opera voice. We can opera sing in the falsetto, and you want an edgy rock type of falsetto, metal falsetto. So try to stay here and then wait to your highest notes and go here, and refrain from using a lot of vibrato. Let it come on late onset. Try to stay straight tone at first and then let the vibrato come in. Unless you're in a very hair metally band. But even if we take a look at some of those folks, again, it's usually straight for a majority of the note, and then we see the vibrato come on. Be a little more tasteful with it. Go for these things straight tone first. Breathe in, use the arms, start floating first. And at first it might be really breathy and airy, and you maybe only she. That's okay. Keep fighting it. Keep stretching the folds. She. Keep working on it until it lets you do it. It's going to have to stretch into it. You're not going to get it all day one, but do it gradually. Don't try to yank your voice into a Rob Halford high note. Thanks, everybody. I hope that helps you start to get an idea of how you're going to start accessing that voice. Your yawn is a really good space to find it. Next time you do a high yawn, see what's happening there. Kind of screenshot that in your mind and see if you can use some of that. Hopefully those were some helpful tips for you from today's video for voice hacks. And if you want to know more about my lessons for singing or screaming, visit voicehacks.net. Thanks, everyone.